could stand up. You have said something, because so much of what this town hall is about is trying to find a way to bridge the divide. But you said, quote, "Without any hyperbole, police officers in American cities care more about black lives than any other institution. Police officers of American cities are the only ones dying to protect black lives." I'm curious what you mean by that and what you expect to see in the final 6 months of this presidency.
A lot's expected of you, Mr. President, and why should I be any exception?
Well, as Michelle said, I volunteered for the job, so I can't complain.
I'm basically going to ask you to figure out a way to cross parallel conversations. And I think it's going to transcend the duration of your presidency, which imposes a special burden on you because of your unique place in history. The parallel conversations you've in fact implicitly alluded to in the course of our conversation today. For the urban police chiefs in America, we are primarily judged by our ability to lower levels of violence in disadvantaged communities of color. In those communities, crime has not significantly gone down. It's gone down in some place called America. But in those neighborhoods, there's easy access to firearms, to which you've alluded, and there are extraordinary rates of violence. Nationally, African Americans represent 51% of our homicide victims, with about 13% of the population. In our cities, it's more like 80%. And like most homicides, offenders look like the people that they victimize. It's an urban tragedy, but the heart of the police dilemma is those neighborhoods that demand our services, need us the most, request us the most, depend upon us the most, for social and historical reasons, distrust us. And when there's a series of critical incidents like we've recently seen, that distrust is in high relief. We can't protect them effectively if we're not trusted, and the police are needed, as you've said, in those neighborhoods. And so the challenge is, how do we talk about both things at the same time without acting like we're blaming the African American community for their victimization, or that we're assuming that all police are racially biased? I understand the Black Lives Matter movement exists because there's a sensibility that Black lives didn't matter, all right? And that's for a number of social and historical reasons. It gets to exist and to advance that agenda. Doesn't mean anybody else's life doesn't matter. But for us, the problem's this. All there is the police in the community. There's no cavalry coming. Right. Many of our cities are in states that are dominated by interests that act like the cities are the enemy. Right. State legislators want to help us do something about guns. All right, what was that man doing with an assault rifle? I mean, fine, go to the funeral of 5 cops. But how did that guy get that assault rifle, and why could he walk down the street with it and then use it? Okay, that requires some political courage. It requires mass movements. There's a lot of moving pieces here. Yeah. So we have to work together. We know that. And everything that divides us makes us all more vulnerable. Makes the police more vulnerable, makes the community more vulnerable. They're the ones that need us the most. And so the challenge, the easy challenge I offer you in the next 6 months, but also I would also hope beyond that, is to use your authority, your influence, and your prestige as a convener to continue this discussion, because I don't think things are going to get enlightened during this election. Okay? And so that conversation is going to have to take place parallel to this election and beyond it if we're going to make that joint progress, because those neighborhoods depend upon us for their safety, and the police depend upon those neighborhoods for their safety.
Well, I appreciate what you said, Chief. Let me just pick up on a couple of themes that you said.